Marrying the right person does not automatically mean that you are going to have a successful marriage. Your partner is not responsible for your happiness. Hear marriage, don't just hear sex, don't just hear companionship, don't just hear love, don't just hear gifts giving and receiving, don't just hear sweet words, all the romantic stuff, don't just hear God when. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ziika. This is Zii O. You're very welcome to this space. If this is your first time seeing my face or your first time watching any of my videos, hi, you're very welcome. I'm so excited to have you here, and I really wish you will join this beautiful community and this beautiful family. So to join, all you have to do is click that subscribe button and share and like and drop a comment and continue to watch my videos. The requirement is not a lot, and if this is not your first time, thank you so much for coming back. I hope I continue to drop videos that would make you continue to come back. I'm really grateful for supporting this cause. Yeah, so I'm laughing because I mean the love that came with my last video was massive. I recorded a video with my husband for the first time, and it was a fun video, a very romantic and fun video, and you guys really loved it. So I'm understanding my my audience now. You guys love romantic stuff, you like funny stuff, you like couple stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for the love. I enjoyed the comments. It was beautiful to see that people loved that. My husband was also excited to see your feedback, and I hope that would make him come back again. Anyway, so my name is Ziika. Like I said, I film about family, my faith, motherhood, marriage, and and lifestyle basically. So I have a lot of interesting topics lined up, and one of it is what I'm sharing today. If you don't already know, I recently got married. Still recent. By next month it will be 3 years that I've been married, and so I've learned a few things in this institution called marriage, and most of my content is going to come from the experiences I've had, the things I've learned, and the things that I'm currently learning, and things that I'm doing that's working for me, and some of the things that probably did not work, and things that you shouldn't bother to do. And some of the things that did not work as well, I will definitely be an open book like that. So today I'm going to be talking about something very interesting, things that they don't tell you about marriage. I'm sure you have expectations, you see couples online, you generally just you just feel like marriage is a type of way and should go in a type of way. But I'm going to be debunking or telling you some of the things that people don't actually tell you about marriage, some of the unrealistic expectations, some of the things that actually, when you enter this institution called marriage, it's not how it is. They are not bad things, but they are just things that are normal, or things that make that are real. And so I hope that you enjoy this. I hope you learn from this, especially if you're not yet married, or if you're newly married. Let this shape your expectations, let it shape how you go into the marriage, so that conflict is reduced and you actually have a beautiful marriage. I'll say this again, I'm in no way a relationship expert. I am not a relationship coach or a relationship counselor. I just have a passion for talking about family, marriage life, my faith, and all this. So I'm just here to share my opinion. So let's just go right into the video. The first thing I would say is marrying the right spouse is very important in marriage. Finding the right person is one of the most important things, but it doesn't guarantee a successful marriage. Marrying the right person does not automatically translate to a beautiful or a happy marriage. Marrying the right person does not automatically mean that you are going to have a successful marriage. There are principles, there's intentionality, there are lots of other factors that actually would make marriage work. And that's why I'm here to say some of the things that I feel like people don't tell you before you marry that you actually need to know. So I have a few points written on my phone here, so I'm going to, if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at the points to just to structure and frame how I speak. So the first thing I wrote here is you will not always be on the same page. That is a very important point. I feel like, well, maybe people say it, but it doesn't hit home. Please let it hit home now. You will not always be on the same page. Remember, you are two people coming from very different backgrounds. You're not raised by even people that are raised by the same parents even have, you're not on the same page sometimes. How much more someone who is from an entirely different family background, culture, in my case, different tribe. So you will not always be on the same page. That is the very first thing. So erase that expectation that because we are both Christians, or we go to the same church, or we love the same things, or we have known each other for 50 years, all those things don't mean that you would always be on the same page at every point or in every decision. Don't get me wrong, it is very, very important to find someone who you are on the same page with on foundational issues. For example, issues of faith. You don't want to make compromises on things like that. So before you get married, when you're in the dating or courting phase, those are conversations you should have. Make sure that you guys are on the same page with issues on faith, parenting style for your kids, whether or not you want to have kids, how many children you want to have, investment plans, a lot of other things that are major. Be on the same page. Very important. It reduces the hassle. But you will not always be on the same page. There are times where you would have different ideas, or you would hope that decisions were made differently. It's normal. You just have to find a way to walk through it, talk through it. That's why it's very important to communicate. It's very important to talk about, I feel like this should be done this way, and this person is saying what they feel like, and then as a family you wait on the word of God, on the things that you have been taught, on the things that you know, and then you make a final decision. So don't have it twisted in your mind. You will not always be on the same page with the person that you call your spouse. 2, you will not always do things together. Well, I feel like this is something people should already know, but I just thought to say it again. You will not always do things together. I've heard a lot of young people say, oh, I want to get married so that I can have somebody that I would always do stuff with. Yes, it's beautiful, it's good, it's cool, but it might not always happen, especially if you live in Nigeria. For example, one of you or both of you might have a 9-to-5. Trust me, you're going to spend the most part of your life at your job, especially if you started working early, maybe in your early 20s, and then maybe you retire at 60 or something. So you will not even spend the most of your time with your spouse. So it's not possible for you to always do things together. So erase that from your mind. Yes, you can make the best use of the time that you spend together to do stuff together. It boosts intimacy, but you cannot always do everything together. So don't be that woman who will starve yourself because you're waiting for your husband to get back from work so you can eat together. Sis, eat if you are hungry. I mean, if it works for you, fine, that's beautiful, but don't let it be an expectation that you have. You'll be disappointed because marriage does not remove your individuality. You should still be able to do things on your own, but of course do a lot of other things together as well. So the third point here is your partner is not responsible for your happiness. Let me allow this for the people in the back to hear. Your spouse is not responsible for your happiness. These things they don't tell you. It is the reality. I'm not responsible for my husband's happiness, and he's not responsible for my happiness. But I can be a huge factor. I can contribute to my husband being a happy person, and he can do same. But I'm not responsible for his happiness. The earlier you realize and put that in the front of your head, the easier your marriage will be. Your partner is not responsible for your happiness. you should be content with yourself as an individual. You should be content. You should be whole. You should be whole. You should be full. You should be happy with yourself. You should do things by yourself that will make you happy. Don't put all of your expectations of happiness on your spouse. You'll be overburdening them. You'll be putting too much pressure on them, and you'll be hurting yourself because they cannot come through for you in all the ways in life. It's not possible. Be content as a human being. Have God. Live. Be happy. Do things that make you happy. Your partner can never make you happy all the time. Remember, they are a human being too. Sometimes they're dealing with issues. Sometimes they even need you to be there for them. So how would they be your happiness? It cannot work. It's not possible. And that point leads me to my next point. They're similar, but it's another point. I think, okay, let me just say it this way. I think one of the things that God has taught me in my marriage is that I had to learn that my husband is not God. My husband is not my God, and he's not perfect. And the same for him to me. Like for me, I'm not perfect. I can't fulfill all his needs. We're human beings. So your husband is not your Jehovah Jireh. Your husband cannot be your Jehovah Jireh. He cannot provide for all your needs. He cannot cater to all your needs. Same thing for a man. For the men, your wife cannot satisfy all your emotional needs, your sexual needs, she cannot replace being your mother in your life. She is not a superhuman. The same thing, your husband cannot provide for all your financial needs. He cannot provide all the security you need. You are not marrying God. So don't expect your spouse to be God. The earlier you understand this, the better. The earlier you have realistic expectations, the more beautiful and exciting your marriage will be. I don't expect my husband to provide everything for me. Of course, don't get me wrong. He's supposed to, according to the Bible, provide for me. He's supposed to protect me. He's supposed to give me some form of security. That is normal. That's what the Bible says. And as a wife, my body is not mine. I'm supposed to satisfy my husband. I'm supposed to protect him as well. I'm supposed to nurture the home. Yes, all of those things are normal. They are what is expected of us to, contribute to make our marriage work. But have very realistic expectations. Don't expect that your partner will provide your entire needs. For the women, why did your parents send you to school? Why are you a full-blown adult if you can't provide to some extent for yourself? If you cannot do certain basic things for yourself? Same thing as a man. Why are you a full-blown man? Some men, I expect maybe you're a bachelor before you marry. Before you married your wife, you were probably living on your own. So it's expected for you to have basic life skills, like being able to cook, being able to clean, being able to wash, being able to do some normal stuff that human beings should do. So when both of you come together, you should be able to complement each other, not that you are expecting your woman to be able to satisfy or fulfill all of the needs that you have, and the same thing for a woman. So please don't expect that. If you expect that, well, maybe there are men or there are women out there that can fulfill all of your needs. Maybe we have people that are aka Jehovah Jireh, but I don't think it's realistic. I don't think majority of the people out there are that. We're human beings. We're two imperfect people coming together. So how about? So please have this in front of your mind, that it would reduce disappointment, it would reduce hurt, it would reduce a lot of unrealistic expectations. So that's another point is forgiveness, sacrifice, patience, compromise. When you hear marriage, trust me, these are the things that you're hearing. You're not hearing, oh God, when what were all those comments I was seeing under our last video? Don't get me wrong, love is beautiful. Marriage is, in fact, my husband his tummy is coming out, so I'm adding weight. Marriage is beautiful, it's sweet, especially when you marry someone who, you guys are on the same page on a lot of things, and you guys are friends. It's beautiful. But you hear marriage, don't just hear sex, don't just hear companionship, don't just hear love, don't just hear gifts giving and receiving. Don't just hear sweet words, all the romantic stuff. Don't just hear God when. Also hear forgiveness, hear sacrifice, hear compromise, hear patience, hear all the fruits of the spirit. Hear all of these things, because if marriage or marriage entails, if you're not ready to forgive, if you're not ready to put sacrifice in front of your life, if you're not ready to be patient with someone, if you're not ready to make certain compromises, don't get married. So these are some of the things they don't tell you. All you see is the kind of video I posted last week, which is good. It's not pretense, it's not a lie, it's normal. Couples should actually be that to each other. You should say sweet things to yourself. You should go on dates. You should make time for, you should spend time. It's beautiful. But at the same time, what makes you balance is this. So be ready to forgive. You're not married a superhuman, like I said, and you should be ready to make sacrifices, compromises. You have to be patient. And the same thing I expect my spouse to be to me as well. So these are things that you should have in front of your mind when you're getting married. Good. Another thing is people change. People change. These things they don't tell you. People change. I'm here to break the news to you that people change. Situations change people. Things change people. Things happen along the line that change people. So don't get startled when you see your spouse is different from the person that you married, or the person that you were dating, or the person that you were courting. I'm not saying that people like to just entirely be different from how they are. No, that's not right. But for example, I've gone through a phase of pregnancy, childbirth. Certain things have changed about me. My priorities have changed. Certain things have realigned. I expect my husband to understand and get in line with that. Same thing, the kind of job my husband has now, he did not have before we got married. The kind of responsibilities he has now, he did not have before we got married. So obviously, certain things will change him. Sometimes you get married as broke people. Along the line, God helps you get financially prosperous. Certain things might change about your way of life that might change who you are, and your spouse is supposed to understand and fit in, get in line. Of course, not every time these changes are good, and not every time these changes are bad, but you should expect sometimes some changes will be good and some changes will be bad. Some things will happen that will hurt someone and make them make certain decisions that will make them become a certain kind of person. Of course, that is why, like I said earlier, communication is very important. Speak about these things, talk about it. If it's something that you can walk around, fine. You have to find a way around it. If it's something you need to address so that the person is aware. Sometimes people are not even aware that they have changed, or they are not the way they used to be. So just expect that some things might change. I'm not saying this in a bad way, like they will change. Oh man, when they used to buy you things before, they won't. No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying, that's why I use myself as an example. Some things are life changes. I had a baby. That's a life change. So certain things will change. It's just normal. So don't be startled about changes. Change is constant. It is normal. So if your spouse, if you guys don't change, that's all well and good, that's fine. But I'm just saying, sometimes you don't see these things coming, but they happen. And I'll just say one more thing and end this video because it's getting really long. And the last thing I'll talk about is marriage comes with being responsible. There are no days off from responsibility. There are no days off in marriage, especially if you now have a baby or babies or children in the picture. Marriage is responsibility. So if you are looking for a place where you will just be there, you are not responsible for anything. Even if you're not responsible for anything, you will be responsible for yourself. I mean, let me use the example of, for example, we're two full-blown adults. Maybe as a bachelor or as a spinster, you would come home whenever you like. You are not accountable to anybody. You don't owe anybody any explanation for what you do. When you get home, you can eat takeout. You don't need to cook. Or even when you cook, if you like, don't wash the pots, don't wash the plates. You can stack it up for months. Don't clean your home. But now that you live with someone else, you have to be responsible. Even if it's being responsible for yourself, clean up after yourself, do what you're supposed to do. You're not marrying someone to come and be doing all of those for you. If you need help with that, get a house help, not a wife or a husband. So you should be responsible as a human being. And then marriage comes with its own responsibilities. For example, I moved straight from my parents' house into my home. My husband moved from his parents' house into his home, into our home now. And so we had responsibilities of paying bills, light bill, home bill, food bill. We had to be able to divide the responsibilities. I'm better at cooking and managing home affairs. I had to take responsibility of that. My husband, it was easier for him to sort out some other things. You have to be responsible and you have to be accountable as well. So marriage comes with all of these things. So don't think you are coming to just lounge as a man. I've seen a woman that will be washing my clothes, cooking my food, doing all of this, and as a woman you are like, I've seen a man that will be paying my bills. No, you have to be responsible. There are no days off. Trust me, as a single person you can get days off. I don't know, you can get away. Of course, I'm not saying this to scare you. Please don't be scared. Today, for example, I didn't go to work. My husband is working, but not a lot of things to do. We put our daughter someplace else and it's just both of us. We've been bonding, having fun, eating, sleeping, relaxing. We feel less responsible today, but you have days like that, but doesn't mean that certain responsibilities are not there. So that is very, very important. I have a lot more points here, but maybe I'll just make a video some other time. But I hope that I've been able to share some things with you. Like I said, some from personal experience, but definitely not all of it. So don't think everything applies to me. Some are things I just learned from other people or I heard from other couples. So these are things that they don't tell you about marriage. Marriage is good, it's beautiful. I'm an advocate for marry, but this is also the reality of being married. So these are some of the things you need to know and need to be aware of. Like I said, if you have a single friend who's looking to get married, if you have a newly married friend, this is a gift that you can share with them. Just share the video with them and I'm sure it will definitely help. So thank you very much for watching. If you watched up to this point, thank you so much. I'm really grateful and I really appreciate. Don't forget to subscribe, to share, to like. God bless you. Until the next video. Mwah, mwah, mwah.